Hi, I'm Joe from Fish Ranger. One of the most common questions I get asked is, why do weather sites all give different forecasts? Well, today I'm going to explain to you why that's the case, and the answer is really simple to understand. So tune in for a moment. So imagine, look at this diagram for a second. Here we have land, here we have water, and here we have the coastline. When data is supplied by agencies like the BOM, it's supplied in what's known as a grid file. Now, a grid file is like a whole bunch of imaginary dots, each with their own unique forecast. So I'm going to draw for you a whole bunch of dots on here at a set distance apart. So the grid file is really a whole bunch of these dots, each with their own unique forecasts that have been created by a supercomputer. So these dots are effectively a forecast for that exact spot. So that's a forecast for that exact spot, that's a forecast for that exact spot, and so on. Now, this grid file is how data is supplied to weather sites and apps. So using this grid file, all that weather sites and apps do is read out the forecast for one of these dots and show it on screen. So if you want a forecast here, you read out that forecast and show it on screen. Here, read it out and show it on screen. There's no interpretation of the data or applying special algorithms to try and make it more accurate. That's a common myth that people have, and it's total nonsense. All you do is read out the data, show it on screen, much like you would open an Excel file and read the data out of a cell. That's it. It's really simple. Okay, so back to our original question. Why do weather sites give different forecasts? Well, there are two reasons for this. The first is that different sites may use different forecast models. So there are three forecast models that cover Australia. One of them is produced by BOM, the other is produced by the American government, and the other by the European government. It's only governments that can afford the size supercomputers that are required to create weather models. So how can you tell what model your weather site's using? Well, in their small print and terms and conditions, they will all tell you. So if you look for it, you'll find it. But one really easy way to tell is that BOM's best forecast data only covers Australia out to 60 nautical miles from the coast. So if you're using a site that's showing you a world map, or you can get a forecast anywhere in the world, then you are 100% sure that that is not BOM forecast data. The second reason weather sites can give different readings is because users are not comparing forecasts from the same grid point. So even if two different weather sites are using the exact same forecast model, they might be looking up locations that are close together but not identical. So one site might be returning a forecast for a grid point there, for example, and the other one might be returning it for a grid point there. So they are going to be different. This is especially prevalent when comparing marine-based forecast to land-based forecast. So a marine forecast is one that's provided over open water. So a marine site will be able to read these forecast dots over water, whereas a land-based forecasting site can only read these forecast dots on land. So if you're comparing the forecast on one site here, a few kilometres out from shore, compared to another site that's giving you a forecast here onshore, they're going to be different, even if they're using the same grid file. Okay, so in summary, there are two reasons why weather sites give different forecasts. The first is because some different weather sites use different forecast models as inputs, and the other is because users are not comparing the exact same forecast point. That's it. I told you it was going to be simple. So I said there was three forecast models that are used, and I also said that BOM is the best one. So I'm going to quickly explain why that's the case. The thing that determines if a forecast model is better than another one is its forecast resolution. So the resolution is the distance between these grid points here. So the BOM data, I'll just make some space down here. So BOM's forecast model for Australia has a resolution of 3 kilometres in Victoria and Tasmania and 6 kilometres in the other states. The American model has a resolution of 13 kilometres and the European model has a resolution of 9 kilometres. So on top of the raw resolution, the BOM forecast data, meteorologists in each state actually review it and make manual adjustments based on their experience of local weather systems before they release it. So that improves the quality again. And the reason more dots make for a better forecast is because it's very similar to in television. So in the old days we used to have standard definition televisions picture wasn't very clear. Now they pack a lot more dots into the same space, and so it's a much clearer picture. And it's a similar situation if weather forecasting. The more dots you can pack into the forecast area, the higher the resolution and the better the forecast is going to be. So that makes BOMS the best forecast data for Australia, then the European model, then the American model. So what's the best way to check the weather? Well, you need to use a forecast site that's going to give you BOM forecast data, because that's the best model for Australia. And then you need to use a site that's going to give you both marine and land-based forecasts. So if you're going out here offshore, you want to check the weather offshore. If you're going on land, you want to check the weather on land. The greatest mistake that I see Australian boaters making is checking the forecast in the suburb here where they launch their boat rather than out here. And you probably even encountered this yourself a few times where the weather said it was going to be calm and you go out there and it was blowing a gale. Well, that weather site may have actually been correct, right? But you looked it up here rather than out here. And I've got some other videos on my channel that explain why the wind is stronger offshore. So I encourage you to go and look at those. I know a lot of people like to check multiple sites before they go out. Now, if you do this, you need to make sure you're checking different forecast models, not different grid points within the same forecast model. I can assure you that Fish Ranger uses BOM's best forecast data and provides both marine and land-based forecasts. Not only that, it gives you everything you need on one page, so it's a true one-stop shop for all your weather needs. Not to mention all the other great live weather features that Fish Ranger offers. So if you haven't tried it yet, I encourage you to download it now and give it a go. I'm Joe, it's been great talking to you, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye for now.